and let's do that. So that should be all happening. Good stuff. And let's pop across to why Snapshot. Now, I really believe this, and we've seen this, and you will as partners know that businesses are pretty much changing the way they extract and they view their data. The cloud offerings are undoubtedly helping with this change in thinking. But if you've got children, you'll also know that there's a need for more instant gratification. Of course, they want more automation. Customers need that. And yes, which customer does not want to lower costs? Something else that's quite interesting is that customers, of course, want less repetition in the recreation of reports, especially when it comes to the business software upgrade. So when the business software upgrades, do customers have to recreate those reports? Often they do, and they pretty much squeal about that, as you yourself will know, because of the additional costs. Customers want more tools. They want better tools to get to their data quickly, and they either want the tools or they want their partners to get to the tools. And even the modern tools, and when I say modern tools, I tend to think of solutions like Crystal Report Writer, which obviously have been around since the late 80s, but even more modern tools after Crystal, they're becoming outdated, and it's time for new thinking. And that new thinking was what we call Snapshot version 1. And that version of Snapshot evolved from the reporting functionality that was out there. It was doable, but unsatisfactory. So Snapshot launched with an ability to trial on your own data. There was a downloadable quick install. You had an instant library, which returned a return on investment immediately. The updates were online and instant. And customers could get community dashboards. And then further to that, if they wanted a dashboard, they could get a custom dashboard. This functionality was only available from Plus Software. So of course, Snapshot evolved, and Snapshot version 2 gives you all of the above, but customers can now customize their own existing dashboards. And more importantly, partners can create new dashboard either from the business solution or from any SQL source. And certainly Dean will give us a quick inkling of that. Isn't that smashing marvelous? Now, we've had a few partners that have adapted over the last 18 months of Snapshot's release. Those partners that are downloading the BI platform, those that get the instant customer return on investment. So customers, when they see the quick install, the connection to the business database, and they see the instant dashboard library, they love the fact there's minimal training. They are certainly going to love the fact they can customize their new dashboards in version 2. And a reminder, there's no upfront cost to a Snapshot. There's a low monthly fee depending on what you're looking for, and customers can cancel anytime. So yeah, there's some magnificent partner opportunities to solve the information challenges, and we won't even look at the revenue, or in fact we will. A reminder of the platform revenue at 50-50 share, and then now with Snapshot version 2, you have the ability to own that consulting revenue 100%. In the partner version that Dean will show us, if you don't want to create your own custom dashboards, you can send them back to us. It's not our preferred model, but of course we'd rather solve the information challenge that your customer might have than not. So there you have it, in a nutshell, what adapting partners are doing. So let's see what Snapshot version 2 is all about. I'll quickly take you through the customer version. The core functionality, as a reminder, most of you, 95% of you on the webinar today will have seen Snapshot anyway, so I'm not going to do a demonstration on that. And then we'll look at the existing dashboard customization in the Snapshot Designer. Then I'm going to open the mic to Dean. Dean will take us through the partner version. Dean's one of the developers and designers of Snapshot, so he is the man. And he will show you how to create a new dashboard and migrate it. Isn't that smashing marvelous? And afterwards, which we'll come back to this, we'll talk about the next steps. So let us smash across to the Snapshot Blue version, which is the version we're on the customer version. Now, as a reminder, you would go and install Snapshot down from the downloads page here on our Plus Soft Solution website. You'd get the downloaded getting started training manual and the installation instructions as well. And when you do that, you connect to the partner, to the customer's database, and instantly you have this library of dashboards that magically arrive on the customer's dashboard. So that's pretty awesome. And the beauty on Snapshot version 2, as I mentioned to you now, is that you can now customize as a customer those existing dashboards. You will not be able to, as a customer, create new dashboards. That's only in the partner version. So let's quickly show you how you do that. Let's just choose a sales by sales rep. We'll go to copy the dashboard. It then copies that dashboard to the custom dashboard tab that's up here. I then go and choose and find that. Here it is here. It's the copy you can see, and I choose to edit that custom dashboard. I can rename it, add a description, and add it to a category or add a new category and edit. And here we are in what we call the Snapshot Dashboard Designer. Now, of course, it looks like a lot of information, but it's relatively easy once you understand. Let's start with the data source. So this is the connection to the underlying data. And the query, this is where you can select the required query or the data member. And this query and the data source cannot be changed in the customer version of Snapshot. And you cannot add any more data query fields either. So customers, yet again, at the risk of repeating myself, can only customize existing dashboards. So that's the data source section, as you can see there. Coming across to the data items pane here, this allows you to create and link data to a dashboard item. So these are dashboard items that I'm clicking on here, and you would then link the data from here to these dashboard items. The term is data binding. And then this here, this rectangle I'm going around here, is what we call the dashboard working area. So as I mentioned, these are dashboard items that I'm clicking on there. Good stuff. So that's a quick, and of course, here's the ribbon bar with the home, the data design I'll show you. So what can customers do? They can do some easy stuff. For example, they can move the layout and change the layout. They can drag a dashboard item and do that, and then stretch it. They can do a variety of things with that. They can do undo if they didn't like that. Of course, they can duplicate a dashboard item or delete a dashboard item. They can convert a dashboard item on the fly, let's say from the bar chart to a grid, so that's available to the customers as well if they didn't like one of the existing dashboards. And then from a dashboard title, they can change the title. You can see there's a customer rep sales title here. You could just change that over there. Certainly currencies are linked to your business system currency, but you could change that. Colors, you can add automatic updates or disable automatic updates, and even add a parameter to a dashboard. This one has got a parameter. You can see it's a dashboard parameter based on dates, but there are dashboards with no parameters. Customers can add in. So that is what we call the easy stuff. There's a little bit more intermediate stuff that customers could do. What we'll also find undoubtedly is that customers will like the perceived ability to do things, but in most cases they will likely go back to their partners. But if they did want to do more of the basic and the intermediate stuff, the customers do get a manual as well, and that's the getting started dashboard, customizing dashboards for customers as well. So that is supplied as well. So the intermediate stuff, they can insert new dashboard items. So I'm here in the insert ribbon bar. They can insert pivot grids and so on and so on. So for example, it's pretty easy. You could insert a gauge to a chart. There it is there. And once you've inserted the gauge, then you would just bind the data. So let's take the amount excluding, pop it across the actual, and let's say we'll take the rep name and put that on the series. And you can see there in the space of 30 seconds, we've got a similar dashboard to what's created there as well. So that's pretty easy, and customers can play with that as well. Reminder that they cannot add any data query fields here as well. So, and then they could change the design. So you go across to the design here, and we've created that. You could change that, right circle, do linears. You can change the actual caption. You can edit names. You can do a few things. And this design toolbar changes depending on the dashboard item. So I've just clicked on now a grid tool. You can see it's changed there. And the design of that is slightly different. So I can add banded roads, I can column headers, I can auto fit to contents, etc., etc. So that is the second component of what customers can do. But what customers cannot do, of course, is create new dashboard items. So without further ado, let's pop across to Dean. Dean, I am now going to find you and unmute you. And yep, just test that you are there, Dean.
Yo, I'm here, Pete. Thank you.
Good stuff. And I'm now going to switch across to the partner version of Snapshot. You'll notice we've just made that a separate color. And Dean, over to you.
Sorry, Peter, just giving me a remote control, please.
Going to do that right now, and you're good to go.
Thanks, Pete. Welcome, everybody. Let's go through the partner version of Snapshot. So as you'll see, the partner version of Snapshot is really, it's exactly the same install as you would have for the end user version. It's just a license that gets given to you, which will unlock new tabs and more functionality. If we go through the tabs, you'll see here your community dashboards is the same as the end user, custom tab is the same, and the favorite dashboards is the same. But your new tabs now available to you is the database views, the stored procedures, and customers. The customers will be a list of all the customers linked to you as a partner, and it gives you their name as it is in our license database with their serial number and their SQL instance name. This comes in very handy if you ever have any licensing issues with the customer, as in there needs to be a new reinstall or something along those lines. As long as you put in the serial number and the customer name, it all works again. So let's just quickly come and jump onto here to the database views, new tab. Behind every dashboard, you need to have a set of logic. And within Snapshot, we use database views extensively. We've also now introduced, alongside that, you can see the stored procedures. Okay, now if I jump into the database views tab, I'm just going to run through some of the columns just very quickly. So the first column we have over here is the view name. It's the name that you give to the view. We have a linked minimum business system version. So we version control all the views to make sure that they run with the corresponding business system versions. And this is due to sometimes within the business systems, they may make a slight change to a column name or a table name, and therefore you have to alter your query to accommodate that. We have a common view column. So what this does is you have to tick a view you create as common if you plan on using this view and referencing it inside another view. So what happens is Snapshot, when it comes along, it will put down the common views first, so that any subsequent view which references that common view does not fail. We have over here another column called is custom view. So if there is no tick, this means it is a community view, the views that we at PlusSoft create to put behind all the community dashboards. But anything with a tick in it will be a custom view that you would have created. Or you can edit or copy, so not edit, you can copy our community views, which then becomes a custom view. We then have this column over here, which is need to migrate. I'll come back to that right now. And then the last column is the customer name. You can link the view to a customer that you've written the view for. Quickly back to the needs to migrate. A quick technical background of Snapshot. Basically, you will have Snapshot installed locally on your side or your customer side. It will be a local Snapshot database. The real Snapshot database actually sits up on one of our cloud servers. So what happens is anything that you create or modify, you'll need to migrate. After you migrate it, it moves it up to our cloud servers. And then whenever the customer comes along or you come along, and on the settings tab, you say check for new updates or new dashboards. What it does is it goes up to our cloud server and pulls down all the views dashboards. This is actually really handy because should anything fail on your customer side, the server crashes or they lose everything, all they have to do is reinstall Snapshot. They click for check for new dashboards and everything gets pulled down again. So putting that aside, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly run through and just show you the view creation. The reality is everyone is going to write their view and test their view in whatever tool that they have available to them. So if you're using Microsoft SQL Studio, you'll probably use the Studio Manager. In there, you'll write your query, proof it, make sure it's correct, and from there, you'll come into Snapshot and just copy and paste the query into Snapshot. What I've done is the other thing I do need to mention is anything that is a community view, you cannot edit or delete any community views. You can only copy them. So you can still copy it, get the logic, alter it, add to it, whatever you wish. So I'm going to come through to this view here. I'm going to edit it. Now you'll see in the top left over here is where you give the view a name. So give the view a meaningful name. Next to that is you can link any of your customers to that view. This is really just a tag. It's not going to limit you to only use this view for this customer, but at least when you're searching for a view you've done for a customer, you can find it. Over here this is common view. This is the tick box that you're going to have to tick if you plan on using this view or referencing this view inside another view. As an example, in this specific view, what we have, this view dynamically gets the start date and end date of the current financial year and the prior financial year. So that we then reference this view inside of our other views to limit the data for the current financial year or the prior financial year. Then we have over here a list of all the available business system versions for your software, for your accounting software. So what we do over here is you'll see over here, we've listed the very first version, and this is the set of SQL that we created that is applicable from this version onwards. And then what happened is in this specific business system, from this version onwards, there was changes made to the table. So a new set of SQL had to be created to accommodate this version. So now what we have is two versions of the software where it changes and two different sets of SQL query. So what Snapshot does is when it goes to pull down the views, if you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your snapshot, it actually lists the version of the software that your snapshot is plugging into. The snapshot looks at that version number, comes back up here, looks at which version will be applicable to your software, and makes sure that it puts down that set of SQL query with that view name. So this way, if you've written the dashboard and a view, and the business system comes along and has a change, all you really have to do is add that version in here and update the SQL, and it will just continue working. All right, with that all said and done, let's go and look how we can create a new dashboard. All right, so we come across to the custom dashboard tab over here, and you click on new custom dashboard. So the first thing we have to do is we've got to come through to the data source. Now, whilst we are creating a dashboard, this is a tab which the end user version does not have access to. Only you as a partner have access to the data source. So what we first have to do is we have to add a data source which is going to link in to the database that you're going to create this dashboard for. So I'm going to click here, new data source. Actually, sorry, just before I do that, I just got to confirm something quickly over here. And Dell Work Laptop SQL Express. So let's just go new data source. So over here, you'll see we have a provider. Now the provider is really the database engine that your database is linked to. So the provider will default to what your business system is linked to. So for example, if you've got Vision or Evolution, it's Microsoft SQL Server. If you're dealing with Ostendo, it'll be Firebird. We also have options over here for a custom connection string. Custom connection strings will let you link to other providers such as MySQL Server or Microsoft Access or XML, Pervasive, Oracle, all your other types of databases. The custom connection strings is comprehensively covered within the partner manual that we have available. So you'll leave it linking to your Microsoft SQL Server. You need to put in your server name and instance name. Okay, authenticate it to your authentication. And then select the database that you're going to be writing this dashboard for. All right, we click the next button. And over here, this is just asking us, do you want to save those credentials that we entered in on the previous screen? You can select no to this, as it doesn't matter what you put in that screen. Whenever a dashboard is run, Snapshot will always pass through the credentials that you have saved in the settings screen of Snapshot linking to your business system. So we hit next. Now over here, this is giving us the option to select a query or a stored procedure. So if we are going to use one of our views, we're going to use a query. If we're planning on using a stored procedure, then we will go ahead and select stored procedure. It will list all the stored procedures that we can choose. I'm going to use a query now. I hit Run Query Builder. This now gives us a list of all the tables and views in the database. So I'm going to search for my Snapshot views. Now all the Snapshot views get prefixed with PSS, SNAP, and so it makes it easier for us to find. So we still recommend that you use a view or stored procedure saved in Snapshot purely for the version controlling and to make it a lot simpler. Over here now you'll see in the middle section, since I've selected that view, it's now listed that view with all its fields. I suggest selecting the star option. So if you look at the SQL query that it does on the right hand side, it's basically select star from your view name. And this is because if you ever edit your query in the future, automatically all those new fields will be included in the dashboard. We hit OK and finish. And now you'll see in your dashboard, you've now linked to that data source and you've now linked to that view, that query, and it lists all the fields. Now within a dashboard, you can add as many views or stored procedures, queries as you wish. You just have to come through here, hit Add Query, and basically it takes you through the process again. So now you'll see back here on the left-hand side, I'm still linked to my same data source, but now my query, if I click on the drop-down, I have multiple queries that I can select. So from here, once you've bound the data source and selected the queries you want, now it's a matter of starting to create your dashboard. There's comprehensive videos and manuals on how to actually do all of this. I'll just show you a quick example. So over here, I'll create a chart. And I'm going to show you sales by month. So I'll just drag my sales figure to the value, and I'll take my date field and drag that into my arguments. And now I have sales by month. So you can go ahead and add as much as you want to this dashboard and design it. And when you're finished, you just got to come along and save it. You'll see there's two save buttons. There's a save as. What save as does is really like exporting the dashboard. You'll save it as an XML file, but the save button is what saves it to Snapshot. So you click save. It now pops up with a dashboard name, so you give your dashboard an appropriate name. You can link it to your customer. So I'll come through over here and link it to a customer. Give the dashboard a more detailed description. All right, link it to the category you want it to appear in Snapshot. And here, this is what is important, is to link it to the view or the stored procedure that you've used in Snapshot, because this is what's going to version control this dashboard. So just to give you an idea of how it works, when a customer comes along and says check for new dashboards, the first thing it will come and do is it wants to try and pull down the dashboard. It will look to see if this dashboard is a custom dashboard or a community dashboard. If it's a custom dashboard, it looks at the customer name. If it's for that customer and your name matches, it will pull the dashboard down. So it'll only pull the dashboard down for the specific customer who you link the dashboard to. It then comes in and looks at the view or the stored procedure linked to the dashboard. And because the view or stored procedure is version controlled, it will then decide whether or not the dashboard can be pulled down or not based on the version of the business system that the view or the store procedure is linked to. So as a quick tip, if you find you've done dashboards and you've migrated the dashboards and views, but your customer is still not getting it, check that your view is correct, that it runs on their system. If it is, check that it is version controlled correctly. And if that is done correctly, make sure that it's linked to the dashboard so it pulls down. I now click OK. Close out of the dashboard. And you'll see now in the list of my dashboards, I now have my new demo sales dashboard. And the last thing to note is if you look over here in the right-hand side, this dashboard needs to be migrated, which means is it's only sitting now still on your local. For your customer to get it, you would have to migrate it, which pushes it up to our cloud service. So when they say check for dashboards, it pulls it down. The other thing that is handy about the migration side of it is you can be working on a dashboard and only when it's finalized and ready, do you then go and migrate it. And that's it for the partner version. Pete, back to you.
Good stuff, Dean. All right, let's go across and finish it up. Oh, we'll just see if I can mute you. All right. I think the most important thing now is to take some action. And we've made it pretty easy. If you like what you see there, and you can see that a snapshot can solve your customer information challenges, then take some action. Just do it. We have put aside specific dates between the 22nd of May and the 3rd of June to give our partners one-on-one assistance to install, to license, and to set up the customer and partner version. So we'll do that for you. And once we've got that up and running, we'll send you the content, which includes the customer training manuals, the partner guide, as well as the videos that Dean mentioned. We'll send them to you, and you can get up and running and start creating your dashboards alongside our legendary support. And then we'll have a follow-up support webinar on Tuesday the 6th. Now, we obviously are looking for every partner who wants to become a FAE with Snapshot version 2 to book, but we'll only focus on the first 6. We have 2 trainers available, and that gives them 3 each to run through the installation setup. But send your booking nevertheless. So if you haven't got an urgent rush for Snapshot, then maybe make it the week after as your recommended booking time. You send us, yes, you want to be trained, give us an approximate booking date and time. We will then reply and confirm with a calendar appointment. So those are concrete steps. Thereafter, you can follow through on our optional certification. And if you take our certification, then you can choose to be listed on the new upcoming Snapshot BI website. It's not available and live now. The content is being put together. So that brings us to the close. I think we're about a minute over our allotted time. Send any further questions and your training booking. Just a reminder, yes, you do want to be trained. Great, I'd like to be trained Thursday, the X at 10 a.m. We will then confirm. And any questions that you put forward, we will reply to you individually. So without further ado, just a reminder also of our other solutions, Time Plus, Data Automator, and Warehouse Manager. Those all 3 solutions are Cyber's Vision dominant, and Cash Manager works with a few other solutions. So thank you so much for today's session. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday leading into Friday. Take care now.